Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this morning on this very, very random live stream? Not looking to get too much into like question and answer type thing because I have been having some audio issues. There was a random update that happened. So I also have made this demonetized, so hopefully no one is seeing any ads as you're watching or before you watched it. So hopefully that is the case because basically I need your help. I need your help. I feel like Leia in Star Wars. I need your help right now because right now I'm going to be doing some testing to see what sounds good, what sounds better, what sounds godright awful. And thank you, Mr. Roy and Laura, for being in here, by the way. I love the new name. Laura Disney should have planned their Star Wars story. It's fantastic. So the settings as they are right now is with nothing added on to it. So for anyone that knows anything about audio, my Rodecaster is set to Unity, which is what I've read is what it should always, you should always try and at least start from there. I have no audio processing on it. I have no gain boost on it either. So let me know how this is sounding. Obviously, as y'all are watching, y'all are going to be able to, of course, hear things. You know what? I'll put the cookies on too. That way, for anyone who is joining us today, that they can gain some of that digital currency as much. I place information vital to survival of the rebellion into the memory system of this R2 unit. That's kind of how I feel right now. Only I feel crazy. My wife and I last night actually were watching Treasure Planet, which, oh my goodness, such a good movie. And I feel like the robot character played by Martin Short, where he's missing that piece. And he's like, I'm crazy and I have no idea what's going on. So yeah, basically this is going to be a lot of, can you hear me now? How does it sound? How does it sound? So do things sound good? Are you having to turn your levels up? What are you watching on? I imagine a lot of you are watching on different devices. So if you're watching on a computer, are you having to turn up the volume on that computer? If you're watching on a phone, are you having to turn that up? Is it not as good as it normally is? Does it sound different than what it normally is? JKD Bucks says that it sounds great. So again, this is set with no changes whatsoever. One thing that I have found is kind of annoying is that in Windows, for every recording device you have everything, you have individual levels. So this is actually set to 68 for some reason, even though I had set it before. And again, this is why I'm being driven crazy. Because it says, Jacob says, I had to turn it down because I'm in the phone with my boss. Okay, so maybe not the best person to to be telling us that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put up the system audio to 75 because I've heard some people say that's the best to put it in. So I've now boosted the internal gain on the system to 75. So is that sounding good? Is there any distortion? Is there any clipping going on in the signal? Let me know how all of that is sounding. And of course, I'm sure if Stephanie B or Tina B stop by, they'll be like, what are you doing? I'm doing a random live stream. And again, this is fully dedicated to trying to create the best sound possible. Okay. Enzo says, sounds good on an Android phone at 75% volume. iPhone here from Laura, that sounds fine. Okay, so this is all sounding fine to people, not sounding too low. Okay, that is a good thing. That is a very good thing. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. All right, so now I'm going to start playing around with some stuff. And let me just make sure that nothing is currently on. And I believe all processing should already be off. Mr. Royce says, sounds good on a PC. Okay. Good to know. Good to hear. Let us see. You sounded weird on Force of Light. And Laura, thank you. And that is probably the number one reason why I'm doing this, because they didn't notice it, but when I listened back, I was distorted. It sounded terrible, and I felt really bad. And of course, they're beautiful people, and so they're like, oh, it's okay. And I'm like, for me, it's not, because if I'm going to be on your show and you're going to invite me on your show, I want you to also sound great, and I don't want to be the one that's going to make your sound quality sound like trash. I don't want to be the reason, after being so kind enough to invite me on your show, I don't want to be the one to ruin it in any way. So, all right. So as of right now, everything is set to pretty standard. Again, the internal Microsoft setting, Windows setting, is set to 75 decibels. Which, again, that just drives me nuts, because if you ever reboot your computer or anything like that, guess what? Those can randomly change for some reason, which makes no sense to me. All right, let me bump that up so I can just hear myself just a little bit more. But everyone else is saying that this is fine. They're at 75% on their phone. Everything sounds nice and delicious. And the other reason why is because I was doing my Patreon podcast stream with John Flickinger, and our audio levels are never the same. His always is much louder than mine, and mine is a lot more, is a lot less. Okay, so as far as processing goes, typically people recommend, if you're going to do any processing at all, that you do a compressor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on the compressor. Okay, so a compressor is now on, and the output level should be a lot higher. It should be a lot louder. Does this sound better or worse in your opinion? Does this sound better or worse? I feel like I'm at the eye doctor right now. A or B? Is it A or B? Do you prefer 1 or 2? It's okay, it's definitely louder. Did you bypass the compressor? In this case, I embrace the compressor. By the way, I do have the Hounds of Asgard with me as well. Hound 3000 says it's better because it's louder, so that means you should be able to turn your volume down, which is actually better in general. It's better for you to be able to turn your volume down as such. So would you say that this is better or worse? And so in order to help with that, all right, so this is A. All right, this is A. Laura says, this sounds softer, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so with the compressor, what it's doing is it's trying to make the levels as consistent as possible with each other. JKD Buck says, I think the sound quality is way better. Okay, way better there. Okay, sounds good. And so just for point of reference, this is with the compressor, and then this is without the compressor. So which one do you prefer? Joey's Movie Blog, thank you, says sound is sexy. Yes, it is when it's done right. So do you prefer this? This is A. This is no processing whatsoever. Enzo says louder, slightly less quality, but wouldn't have noticed normally. Okay, so we have a differing opinion there. So this is without the compressor. This is A. All right, this is without the compressor. This is A. And then this is B. This is with the compressor. So do you prefer A or B? People are saying compress it, baby. And obviously I can change the levels on the compressor if need be, because there is additional gain added on, and I can lessen the gain as well. We haven't even gotten to one which has my favorite name to it yet. So some are saying with the compressor. So again, without the compressor is this. This is without the compressor. This is option A. And then this is with the compressor. And this is option B. Laura says, sorry, B with the compressor. Mr. Roy says, compressor is a bit better. Okay. G Monkey says that B sounds a bit better as well. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So for the sake of experiment, are these going to be daily morning streams? This, as far as audio testing goes, no. I do morning streams over on Odyssey, though, on Monday, Wednesday, and then I do it on my second channel on YouTube, the OMB Report, on Thursdays. This is just a random one because I'm having a difference here. J-Rod says, sounds better with the compressor. John Connor says, gain in compressor makes a big, better difference. Okay, so it's more so the gain than anything else that is helping out with you. Okay. Let me go ahead then and turn the compressor off. All right, so the compressor is now off, of which y'all said that y'all preferred it with the compressor. Okay. Now I'm going to try something called the Big Bottom. It's probably got the most fun name out of everything. Okay, this is the Big Bottom. So this should be adding some bass to the voice overall. All right, now the Big Bottom is on. Do you think this sounds better or worse? So I'll go ahead and give you all some options. So this is A. So A is, so again, A is without the Big Bottom. So this is without the Big Bottom. B is with the Big Bottom. Which sounds better? With the Big Bottom or without? So without is A, with is B. The Big Bottom, do you notice a major difference? Does it sound better? Does it sound juicier in any way? Gary says with the Big Bottom is better. John Connor says, I never thought I'd say this, but Big Bottom bad. Okay. So people not liking the Big Bottom, I see. Sounds the same to me on my phone. Okay, and this is the reason why I wanted to do it on the YouTube channel, because it would get to more people, and also everyone's using different devices. And that's why I want it to be the best quality for everyone, no matter what you're watching on. G-Monkey says it sounds about the same. In my headphones, it also sounds about the same as well. And again, I think with a compressor, there will be a much bigger difference, but I wanted just to get... So it seems kind of a mixed on this one as far as the Big Bottom, whether that is good or not. I'm mobile for red. I'm mobile for reference. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the Big Bottom off then, because people are saying it sounds about the same there. All right, so then let's go ahead then and put the compressor back on. All right, so the compressor is now on. People said that they seem to like this one for the most part. And now... let's go ahead. So we have the compressor on, and so it says B is slightly better, but again wouldn't have noticed normally. Yeah, because without additional gain, which is what the compressor adds on, it's going to be a lot harder to really hear much of a difference anyway. So the compressor is now back on. Most of y'all said that the compressor was better, though there was one who said the quality didn't sound nearly as good, which concerns me just a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely louder with the compressor, I know. Okay, so now we have the compressor, and so now we're going to do compressor without Big Bottom, which is what this is, and then with Big Bottom, okay? So now, boom, now the Big Bottom has been added, and so now there should be a lot more of a sound difference here. So this is the compressor with the Big Bottom. This is the compressor with the Big Bottom. So do you prefer it with the Big Bottom compressor or without? So once again, this is with the Big Bottom, and then this is when it's just the compressor. Yeah, Odin's Big Bottom blog. Yeah, so this is just the regular compressor, nothing else, just the compressor. Love me some Big Bottom, says Laura. Still sounds the same on phone, says J-Rod. That's interesting. That's very interesting. J-Rod, as far as the volume on your phone, though, did you get to turn the volume down when I turned the compressor on? So this is just the compressor, and now this is the compressor with the Big Bottom turned on. So this is the Big Bottom turned on with the compressor. So the compressor, which is helping to keep us from clipping too much, but also being able to add some gain on after the fact, but also now the Big Bottom adding stuff on to the voice. Is it too boomy? Is it too bassy based on what you are listening with? J-Rod says, I turned it down slightly with the compressor on. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right, and in my opinion, that's a good thing. People were saying they were at 75%. Laura says, that's the best. Your voice sounds really deep. How you doing, Laura? How are you doing, Laura? Yes, I do like the big bottom, but Enzo says, comp with big bottom sounds better on my phone, still very slight difference. And that is also the big issue, is that things that sound different in my headphones, when I do a recording and listen back to the recording, I don't notice the difference as much. So I'm glad that y'all are putting this. Let's see, Gary says, no, it is good mid-level on YouTube sound output. Okay. Sounds the same on phone, says GMonkey76. That big bottom makes the audio sexier. Well, yeah, everyone knows about that. John Connor says, compressing big bottom sounds fuller for me. Better big bottom, not bad. Compressor's gain may need a slight notch down. Too much gain can get to be an issue. Compressed big bottom, a little too much bottom, says... Okay, so how about that? Let's go back to the compressor then, and let me push that gain down just a little bit. Let's see. I have it at 8 dB right now. Okay, and so now I've dropped the compressor down to 4 dB. Is that a better mix? Does that sound a bit better to y'all? So this is big bottom, compressor. Compressor has also now just been put down. Now it's only boosting at 4 dB rather than the 8 dB that it was pushing before. So does that sound a little bit better, a little bit more natural? It's definitely quieter for sure because it's gone down in the boost. So that definitely makes sense to me. John Connors says put it at 7 dB. Okay. Let me see what others are saying as they're listening to this. Because the only other thing I want to try out is the noise gate, which I have a love-hate relationship with, because it does get rid of background noise a bit, but it also has more of an artificial quality to it. So how does this sound? Again, I dropped it 4 dB on here. Split the difference on the dB, says Enzo. Okay, so I was at 8, so that means I would go to 6. Okay, so now I've gone up to 6 dB on the compressor. So I've bypassed the compressor in a certain way. So now I'm at 6 dB. So let me know how this sounds now. Because obviously also on the threshold, I could theoretically change the threshold on the compressor. I am not an audio expert. So that's why I put out a call for help on Twitter. I was like, if anyone's an audio expert, please let me know. Because I want y'all to be able to have the best audio experience that you can possibly have. All right, so this is the compressor with 6 dB and also with the big bottom. Enzo says, this sounds good to me on my phone. And Enzo, what is the volume that you have set on your phone? I think, were you the one that said that you had it at 75% before? Is it now at maybe like at closer to 50% now, where you don't have to boost your phone's volume as much? And depending on what device you're listening on, if you're listening on a PC, a Mac, an iPhone, whatever, let me know in comparison to... all right, Mr. Roy likes 6 dB. Okay. All right, Mr. Roy likes that big bottom with 6 dB. Some of these names are just crazy. Gary says, I have sound skills. This sounds good on my headphones, which I just act. Okay, good. Okay. So Gary, Banjo Sandwich Worthington, which I love the name, says it sounds good with headphones. That's also a big thing. Sounds good on PC. Enzo says, 75 still. I could notch it down a click or two. Okay. All right. I think that sounds pretty good to me then. All right. So now that I have that compressor a little bit more, let me just go back one more time and let's play around with that big bottom a little bit. All right. So this is with the compressor and the big bottom, and now I've turned the big bottom off. So for y'all, does that make much of a difference with the big bottom off? Do you prefer the big bottom on in any way whatsoever? So yeah, glad that y'all like the 6 dB. A little room echo. Yeah, I can take care of that potentially with the noise gate, and I'll do that one next. But yeah, thank you for letting me know that, Gary. And yeah, especially with headphones on, is going to be the best way to know. But obviously, I want to know the volume as far as mobile as well. Audio clips galore. I hope Perry's around. Yes, seriously. There are so many clips that Perry Chan could totally use for Friday Night Tights here. Mutant Banhammer says, hello, random audio testing stream. Misa Jaja Binks. Me's your loyal servant. Yeah, there's also this audio exciter, but I don't like it. It boosts your presence, but I don't know. I think it starts to sound a little bit artificial. But anyway, this is without the big bottom on. So again, no big bottom here with the new compressor. And now the big bottom is on with that same compressor with the 6 dB. So which do you think sounded better to your ears? Gary, it sounds like you have the headphones on. You say you have some audio experience as well. So do you think that the big bottom, do you think it's too beefy? Do you think it's maybe too boomy for someone to be able to listen to this for a long period of time? If you're listening on mobile or on your computer speakers, is it maybe a little too much to listen to? Banjo says to have the big bottom on. Okay, gotcha. Let me see here. Let me try and... Enzo says I can't tell a difference. Yeah, I think on mobile devices, it's going to be harder to tell a difference in the end, which just... It makes sense to me that would be the case. But let me try, and big bottom and compressor is good on Android, says General Wingster. Thank you very much for that. All right, so now I'm going to do a slight alteration to the big bottom, and I'm going to put the mix down a bit. All right, let me get that right. Okay, so now I've put the mix down to 30, so the effect should not be nearly as strong. In my ears, I'm not really telling much of a difference, but maybe Gary, in your headphones, does this sound a little bit better, where my voice still has a little bit of beef and boom to it, but it's not nearly as boomy? So this is with the mix down just a little bit, because my options for big bottom are tune, drive, and mix. Let's see. Gary says mobile devices are used in and outside, so bottom boosts the listen. On my phone, there is no noticeable difference, says J-Rod the Beer Guru. That sounds about right. Gary says sounds okay. Does that mean it sounded better beforehand? Does that mean that it sounded better beforehand? With the mix being at 50 instead of 30? %, volume, 6 dB, good, no real difference. 100%? So does it not sound good when you're not at 100%, G-Monkey? Because you're on mobile. That's crazy. Gary said yes, and I forgot the question. So I know he says that he likes the bottom on. He says it sounds okay. So yes, meaning that there's no real difference between the two. I'd rather have less than more when it comes to audio effects, for sure. Too hard to tell a comparable difference at the moment. Okay, all right. So I think that for the most part, we can say that people like the compressor with the big bottom, and that this is a relatively good thing to listen to. Too hard to tell, comparable difference. No sounds the same, just quieter. Okay, gotcha. All right. So the last one that I want to, yes, up it to the previous setting. Okay, so you want the beefier. So let me put that back to 50. All right, so the mix is now at 50%. So you actually like this better, Gary, than the one that was down before, because as you can see, I can hear it in my headphones. It's a little bit beefier, a little bit richer, and obviously this is very much subjective. Some people prefer certain tones to others, but since all of you are listening on different devices, this is obviously going to be different for everyone. So yeah, this is now, I've boosted the big bottom, I've upped my big bottom, as some might say. There's a line for Perry Chan. If anyone has a line to Perry Chan, be like, hey, check out this stream. All right, it sounds richer. Yes. Does that richer sound good to other people who maybe don't have headphones on or are listening on mobile? Can y'all tell a difference now that I've boosted the mix just a little bit? Because I don't really know the difference between drive and mix on this board. I've been doing everything I can to find tutorials, and every single time I find one, it's like, your ears will tell something different, and my ears are just not well suited for this, because my ears are not your ears, and y'all are the one that listen to it, and I want to make sure that y'all get the best experience possible. Physics Channel with Kenny Lee, thanks for being here, man. He says it sounds good. All right. Sounds fine. And I assume that my mobile device users are also having a similar experience as well. And I'll listen back to this stream as well on my various devices to see how things sound. So anyway, this is with compressor on. Soul Extraction, what's going on? It says, sounds good to me, but I'm on PC with headphones. Yeah, but you know what, to be honest, headphone users are the ones that I'd be more concerned with as far as the sound, like the actual quality. Because if you're on mobile, I mean, your speakers can only do so much. But if you have headphones on, I mean, if you're listening to this for an hour, hour and a half, and it's grating or it's not good, then that will make it a lot more difficult to listen to. So John Connor says, the sound's great, front of the line, if that makes sense. Okay. So out of all that, okay, that does. So out of everything we've seen and heard just so far, everyone likes right now big bottom. Physics says I'm using the PC speakers, and he says it sounds good. So this is big bottom with the compressor, and I think it was mostly like standard settings, and it was with a 6 dB boost. The only true test will be yelling. Okay, yeah. Gordon's alive. There we go. Gordon's alive. Dive! Yeah, the one thing the compressor should be doing is it should be, anytime I get to a certain level, driving down to make sure that we don't peak in the process. So let me try that again. Gordon's alive! Yeah, so there's a little compression there in that way. Still sounds the same, does sound nice. Okay, people says it sounds nice. All right, here's the one that I'm really unsure of, and this is something called noise gate. And so, Force of Life Entertainment, welcome. So a part of this is not just because of what happened on y'all's show, but part of this is because my audio was terrible on y'all's show, and I feel so bad for that, and I want to get it right. And so I'm doing this random stream and getting a lot of really good feedback. Physics Channel, okay, says, once Old Man Odin, well, you know, does this sound any better or worse than what it normally would do if this was on Friday Night Tights? Does this sound maybe a little bit better or a little bit worse, depending on everything? All right, hopefully y'all enjoy that. You're a big guy, says Mutant Banhammer. Well, thank you. Is that a fat reference? John Connor says, I'm on a big headset, treating it like a sonar man is in a sub. Treating this like a sonar man in a sub. Okay, does that mean it sounds good? Watching you on smart TV and the audio is cutting out a little bit. I don't know why it would be cutting out. Love me some tights on a Friday. Absolutely, everyone loves some Friday night tights. One day we'll have to actually do the show in tights. Okay, so this is big bottom on and compressor on. So now I'm about to turn on the noise gate. All right, so now the noise gate is now enabled. So you should have noticed that now that background noise that was playing between me talking is no longer able to be heard. However, does this change the quality of what you were just hearing beforehand? Obviously, it's good not to hear that background noise, which gets cut out like that. But the issue always with a noise gate is sometimes it can be too aggressive. Sometimes it can cut words out and things out in general. So this is now with a noise gate enabled. So any of that background hiss and noise that you may have been hearing should now be gone. But I want to make sure the quality that was there beforehand that a lot of y'all seem to be enjoying has not had any change whatsoever. Okay. So let's see what people are saying. Gary Banjo Sandwich says, it is heavier with this. Physics Channel says, your voice sounds the same to me, but the background is gone. Okay. Yeah, the background being gone obviously would be a pretty big deal, for sure. Because it also gets rid of breaths, or at least certain types of breaths as well. So Gary says it's heavier. Gary, do you think that means it sounds better on headphones or worse on headphones? with that heavier sound to it. So for a bit of a test, what I'll do is this is again with everything that I was previously testing on and the noise gate. And now I'm going to turn the noise gate off. All right, so now the noise gate is off. So that background noise that you can hear between is now something you can hear, which there's not a whole lot that I can do about necessarily. See, John Connor says, fine at normal volume, but loud enough you can hear static picking up as you speak. Noticeable in between and ending words. Yeah, exactly, because you're going to hear that background stuff get cut out. And so then when I start speaking again, the noise gate lifts and then you're able to hear it again. Yeah. It helps if family makes noise, says Gary. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was cutting out that sound tone, though. Sounds the same to me, but can't hear the background. Okay, yeah, so this is without any noise gate at all. And now, as you can hear, that noise gate is now on. And so when I'm not speaking, it cuts off. But is it too abrupt when it's cutting off? Does it sound unnatural at all? Does it bother anyone at all? Because obviously I can play around, but my knowledge of these things is not nearly. Sounds kind of funny, says Mr. Roy. Okay. So my microphone is, it only has one polar pattern. So my noise gate has a threshold, attack, hold, release, and range. Let me turn my attack down a bit. So now my attack is down a little bit. So I don't know if that sounds a little bit better or not. Can cut off, but that depends on your tone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the threshold right now is set to negative 52 dB. Which is kind of weird because I have, this is at the very bottom. This is at the very top. Yeah, so obviously I want that to be lower because y'all saw when I was at 0, it was cutting off everything. But even now set to negative 60, it seems that background noise that I'm hearing isn't even there. Let me turn the hold down a little bit. Or maybe turn it up a little bit. Yeah, you see, this is where okay, yeah, so it's that release that sounds a little bit unnatural, I think. All right, so the release, let's put that back up a little bit to negative 52 dB. So how does that sound a little bit more? So now I've played around a little bit with the attack, the hold, and the release, and that determines when it kicks in, how long it holds, and then when it releases it back. So obviously now I can hear it after the fact coming back, which is why I like the more aggressive attack. Or rather, the more aggressive release and hold. So actually, I don't like that as much. All right, so now I've gone back to what it was before. And again, this is where my expertise kind of goes away. So again, for my noise gate, I have the ability to set the threshold, which I don't think is at issue right now. I have the ability to set the attack, the hold, the release, and the range. These are all things that I am very unaware of as far as their meaning is concerned. But with that being said, in general, obviously y'all are all on different devices. Gary says sounds realer. Okay, does that mean that the changes that I was making sounded more natural? So what I'm going to do then, you sound fine on a smart TV now. Are you going to go from James Earl Jones to young James Earl Jones? All right, so now I've turned the noise gate off completely. Is this okay? Oh, we just had a power flicker here. So I might lose signal. That was odd. So we just had a power flicker here. Luckily, my computer is still on because I've got an APC. Shout out to Dion for recommending that to me for a while. Storyman Jack, dude, thank you so much for the super chat. I was not expecting super chats today. He says, thank you so much for letting me know that the Criterion channel, I was able to watch Zatoichi. What an amazing series. Yeah, dude, the Criterion channel, man, is so freaking cool. And you get a 2-week free trial with it. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I was. And it's like $11 a month. And obviously, it's another subscription service, but you get access to almost every Criterion movie that exists. I think the only exception are movies that they no longer have the rights to. Gary says, yeah, natural. Enzo just said, whoa. Heard the flicker, says John Connors. Yeah. Your mic software is stressing the town's power grid, says Fedigator. It's putting in too much power. Yes. So I guess the main question then, do y'all prefer noise gate or not? So this is without the noise gate on at all. And then this is with the noise gate on with the settings that I have currently, which obviously I could play around with. Does it sound, as far as the voice while I'm talking, does it sound any better or worse? And then do y'all like the fact that in between, when it's quiet, that it is actually like dead quiet? So really that comes down to more so of a preference thing there. And obviously I can play around with the hold and the release and stuff like that to try and get that. Kiko Roger says, maybe my volume is too low. I don't notice a difference. Okay, gotcha. So again, this is with the noise gate on. And so again, what this is doing is it's cutting out those frequencies. So it says, I like the gate on. I can hear the difference. This is good for me, says the physics channel with Kenny Lee. All right, let's see what Gary says, since he has those headphones on and he can probably hear a lot more what I'm hearing. Because at the very end of what I say, if you have like headphones on, you can kind of just hear at the very end, you can hear that you can hear that basically the gate closing. And I know that there's a way for me to play around with it to make it sound a little bit more natural, but I'm not a sound engineer, and so I don't know exactly how to get that to work the very best that it can. Gary says, if you tap a pen while talking, we'll pick it up pick up the sounds equally. So yeah, so that means that y'all can hear that, what I'm doing right now. I'm tapping on my table, because I can't really hear that in my headphones. John Connor says, I prefer the dead quiet, allows background and whatever other audio to come to the front without issue. J. Rod the Beer Guru says, it sounds good to me. Okay, gotcha. But a lot of y'all like the big bottom. I found that interesting. Can't hear the tapping, says Fedigator. Okay, yeah. Mr. Roy says it's okay. So Mr. Roy, do you prefer noise gate on or noise gate off? Sound is quiet, so audio is good. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because the threshold is gonna basically kill anything that's anything that's at negative 52.2, which is, let me turn it off. So that room tone that y'all are hearing right now, if you have headphones on, you can definitely hear it. If you have like your phone all the way up and are really listening, you can hear it. So that is the noise gate. Rather, that's the noise in the room. That's the room tone. So the noise gate is doing is it's capturing anything that is at a certain level of sound. It's going to cut off. So if I put this all the way up to 0 dB, it's going to cut off everything. Like my voice is going to cut off, everything's going to cut off. Where if it's at negative 52, where it is right now, it's only going to cut off those things that are playing in the background. So now when I turn it on, as you can hear, if you're listening on headphones especially, that background noise is no longer playing. However, the issue that comes in is that sometimes when I stop speaking, if I don't have the attack, hold, and release correct, which is something that again, goes way beyond me, what it does is it means that it's more likely going to, you can hear literally the gate closing as I finish talking. So, all right, let's see what people are saying here. Physics channel, hold on, let's see. Enzo says I could not hear the tapping. All right, so it sounds like no one could hear the tapping. Kiko Roger says, I guess some people are blasting your audio, no problems here. Okay. Physics channel, not when you're talking. When you're not talking, I can hear the tapping. Okay. Brightburn says, I saw a quarter of Apocalypse Now Redux. Very difficult to watch. People trying to turn this into a movie talk stream. John Connor says, I heard the tapping like it came from the guy next to me. Yeah, because I can see that turn up in the OBS studio. Let me go back here. Let me see. Yeah, it does show up here. I just can't hear it. So it does a pretty good job of cutting it down. I can probably boost that level too so that it wouldn't even be able to pick that up. But I don't want to do it too hard because then it could cut out random things. And also, the further that I move away from the microphone, it means that there's a better chance that it's going to kick in. So y'all might be able to hear it a little bit more with that. Gary says the focus of other sounds like picking up drinks and moving will be low, so that's a good thing. Yeah, the white noise is something you can hear without that on. Trent Johnson, what's going on? Especially confirmed for this end. Okay, Wake Down, what's going on, dude? PD says, hit with a hammer and yell at it. Normally works. All right, so will it filter out pizza munching? Well, you'll notice that on Friday Night Tights, I always try and eat my pizza really far to the corner so it doesn't get picked up, or I actually just mute my microphone. That way it doesn't come in too much because I don't want to tick off Gary too much. So John R says, to be fair, I'm on big headphones. No Beats, but these ain't cheap. Exactly. And again, anyone wearing any kind of headphone with any kind of noise reduction is going to probably have the better understanding. But I still care about the people on mobile devices because obviously if it sounds like crap from them, it's going to be bad. Physics says, I could really hear the difference when you moved away from the microphone. Okay, gotcha. Munch mic settings. I don't want to munch it. That's the thing, is I don't want to munch it at all. Don't worry, with a large diaphragm dynamic microphone, it's less sensitive than a condenser mic. Yeah, exactly. However, it does still pick up that room tone. So again, when I turn the noise gate off, I can hear that room tone, which is weird because when I'm listening back on, to recordings, I don't really notice it as much as I do when I'm actually just directly monitoring the sound. It's kind of this weird thing. Mutant Banhammer, eating pizza on mic is ASMR. Gary should love ASMR. That's the thing, though, is that I don't want to push it too far. I don't want to make him mad or anything. Croissant crust settings. Low cut by 200 hertz. I don't think there's a low cut here. Yeah, it goes down to negative 60 dB. So I could put that up. So, all right, I'm going to enable the noise gate again. And I'll go ahead and I'll put that up now to negative 45. And so now, even just that breath I just did is something that's not being picked up. So there is that benefit because it doesn't pick up those background noises. But if you go too hard with the noise gate, it can start to cut off your words. It can start to not pick things up, which is why I like to have that a little bit lower. So let me put that down to negative 51. Trent said, but I would make said ASMR channel on Twitch. Heard that's the on the rage nowadays. Oh yeah. If I was going to make an ASMR channel, it would absolutely be on Twitch. There's a whole section dedicated to ASMR over there. It's the weirdest thing in the world. It makes no sense to me whatsoever, but it is what it is. So I guess people in general, though, like having all three of these on. Enzo says, does playing a video clip through those settings or just the mic? This is just affecting the mic. There is a way to have universal settings set. This is just for my microphone on channel 1. So that it's only going to impact that. Yeah, if it was doing universal settings, that would be a whole other ball game that I don't even want to play, Enzo. It's a whole game I don't want to play. Gary says, I have to head out, guys, to work. Good luck. I will check back what you end up with later. Oh, thank you, Gary, very much for your feedback, man. It really did help out a lot. Sebastian says, nice to see your face here now when my weekend finally starts. Sebastian Turhammer, thank you for being here for this sound test. So, all right, it sounds like people generally like the noise gate or don't really have many opinions about the noise gate. And again, for anyone that's just joining, depending on what device you're listening on. So here is the noise gate on. So as you can hear, there should be basically no noise whatsoever when I'm not speaking, which is a very nice thing, especially when you have headphones on. It's a lot less noticeable when you're listening on phone. But as long as, and it seems like Gary confirmed this, as long as the vocal quality has not been impacted, then I'm okay playing around with the attack, hold, and release settings a little bit to make it a little bit more natural sounding. But this is the noise gate on. As soon as I turn the noise gate off, you should have heard that white noise. But let me just go back now and let me turn the noise gate on. And then let's just play around with these settings once again. All right, so here is the noise gate, big bottom, and compressor on. So now I've just turned the compressor off. So how does this sound in comparison to what it was before? So now I have the big bottom on and I have the noise gate on, but I do not have the compressor on it. I think a lot of people still like the compressor sound. John Connor says, yeah, and now they've dialed up ASMR on Twitch with, oh gosh, when's the Rapture, man? Yeah, exactly. If that's what they're going to be trying to push for, man, that's awful. That is just so freaking disturbing, man. I didn't hear anything when you turned off the noise gate, but that may be because I'm listening on a laptop. Yeah, so depending on what you're listening. Yeah, it's definitely quieter. Yeah, it's going to be quieter without the compressor, that's for sure. I'm down to 60 to 70% with those audio settings. Really? This sounds less heavy, less hard. So yeah, this has the big bottom on, but has no compressor. It says it's coming in clear here. Okay, Orange Hat Reviews is now here as well. So what I'm going to do is I have now enabled the compressor again. It should definitely be louder because one of the things that the compressor does is it tries to make sure that everything is sounding even. And so if I reach a certain level of dB, the compressor kicks in and therefore drives it down. I also have an extra 6 dB of gain added on as well. All right. PD says compressor won't really get rid of room tone, by which as it's more of a sound yeah, PD Rich. So the compressor, we've gone through steps. So we started off with the compressor. We got it to where most people said they liked this tone with the compressor on. I then went to this one tone on here because there's these Aphex sound effects on the board, and it's called Big Bottom, and people seem to like the Big Bottom. And then we went over to Noise Gate to see if the Noise Gate was going to have any impact on the sound. But anyway, this has Big Bottom, compressor, and Noise Gate on. So how does this sound in comparison to everything else? John Connor says, hard to tell. I like the compressor, though. It's really for that gain. Okay, gotcha. Trent Johnson says, anyone on mobile have issues? That's better. 60 Kilo Rogers. Gary says, write down your settings as you get good feedback, then do some offline recordings to set a good balanced sound. Yeah, I should probably be doing that. Mr. Roy, have a good one. He says it's louder. I still like the compressor on. Okay, so since a lot of people seem to be liking having the extra gain, let me try something really quick. So I'm going to turn the compressor off. All right, so now the sound should be less. But now I'm pushing up on my board. I'm pushing up my little slider because I do have, it was set at Unity, which is kind of like where you always want to set things whenever you're going to play around with stuff. So now I've driven up what should be the output. So it should now be louder as well. So does this sound better than when the compressor was on? So this has a noise gate set. This has the big bottom set, but I have driven up the slider so that the output is more. So I've added gain, just natural gain to the signal instead. Let's see what we got here. GMonkey76 says, still like it with the compressor on. Physics says, quality may change when you are sharing with another channel. Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is that will it get affected when I'm going through something like StreamYard, for instance? I can't wait for all this to mess up on FNT, says Trent Johnson. Yeah, seriously. Absolutely. So yeah, so here is one. So this is with me boosting it up a couple of pegs without the compressor on. So just to give you all an idea of how this sounds, I'm going to keep on talking. Can't tell a difference on a phone. Touch too much. Cue AC/DC riff. Okay. So yeah, anyway, this is with it being boosted up a little bit more. So now I'm going to put that back down. and now the compressor is on. All right, so now the compressor is on, and so this adds extra. They both sounded the same. Okay, gotcha. Well, I think I'd much rather than, if it sounds the exact same, have the compressor on, so that way I can keep my levels at unity, which is, in case I'm too loud, I can bring that down, and everything else, all the other effects would still pretty much be the same. All right, so it sounds like I have some more people here. So this is with a compressor that is turned on. And if anyone, of course, is an audio expert, I am more than willing to hear to feedback here. So let's keep that compressor on. Let's go back again to the big bottom. So let's see how people feel about that. All right, so now the big bottom is off. All right, so now the big bottom is off. So I still have a compressor on. I still have a noise gate off. And to my ears, it sounds like the noise gate isn't as noticeable of coming off, I guess. But anyway, so this is with that big bottom turned off. I know a lot of people like that big bottom. A lot of people like that big bottom because it adds to the beefiness of the voice. But this has the compressor on, noise gate on, but no big bottom. And if you could hear that, even in my breath just there, only a part of it got picked up during that time. So that is something I think that is something that I would definitely want to play around with the effects of the noise gate. But just the general idea of it cutting off that background noise. PD Rich says, no worries, I'm a member of the Institute of Professional Sound and I'm finding this very interesting. Are you really? Yeah, please do give me your feedback. Physics says, I teach sound and wave and physical, but not an audio engineer. Gotcha. G Monkey says, think they sound the same on the slider versus compressor. Okay, very good to know. Thank you for that. Compressor will give you that cool radio sound. Okay. Yeah, this has the compressor on. I've just got the big bottom turned off. I know there's a delay between when I speak and when it gets to y'all in the chat. Trent Johnson says, I think the dudes in the chat like a big bottom. I like big bottom, I cannot lie, says Enzo. Mike Jackson says, I hear sound. When I stop talking, you shouldn't hear any sound, or you should hear very little sound. At least with like the what's it called? The white noise or room ambience. PD Rich says, I'm also the rabbi from Another Planet's Wrench. Oh, okay, the rabbi from Another Planet. Okay, first I was a little confused by that. Okay, gotcha, PD Rich. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your feedback. So yeah, this is with the big bottom off. This is with the big bottom on. And again, I heard earlier people saying they like the big bottom on because it added no background when quiet is excellent, says Mike Jackson. Okay. So it sounds like people in general like the effect that the noise gate has in general. So that's a good feedback to hear. So now the big bottom is on. So big bottom is on. So I'll wait to hear y'all's feedback on that. And then I guess one last test that I will do is by the way, it's on Father Christopher Miller's today. Nice. Yeah. Hail to Father Christopher Miller. Yeah, I know they go back and forth with that show. JKD Buck says, I do not hear the dog shaking his head a seconds ago. Okay, yeah. Paul says, it definitely sounds better with the compressor on. To me, the quality of the sound is richer. Yeah. So this was playing around with the big bottom. So the compressor was already on. Orange Hat says, yeah, your live speak and when we hear on the service is about 7 seconds. Yeah, sounds about right. Big bottom on top. It all sounds like you just too much on gain. Okay. Gotcha. So let me turn the big bottom off then. All right, the big bottom is now off. Oh, it's Father Miller's. Happy birthday to Father Christopher Miller. Hail to you, Father. All right, so the one last test that I will do is I'm now going to turn off the noise gate. I'm going to turn off the compressor. And now I'm just going to boost my gain naturally on the board on the slider. So how does this sound in comparison to everything else that you had heard? So right now at this point, there is no compressor, there is no noise gate, there is no big bottom at all. I have pushed up the slider so that the output gain is higher. I know a lot of y'all wanted more of that gain which is what y'all liked. So out of all of these, which ones, if you've been listening for the whole time, which ones did you like? Which ones did you think worked? Did they sound natural? Would you be able to listen to that voice tone for a longer period of time? That's the kind of feedback I'm looking for now. So again, this has all of the effects turned off, and it just has the output gain, so the slider that I have, turned up. So obviously you can hear that background noise if you have headphones on with that noise gate off. And I guess one other test that I can do is I'm going to turn the noise gate back on. All right, so the noise gate's back on, but I also have the boosted volume as well. And so I guess, does this sound better since now this does take care of all that background noise that you were hearing before? So again, this is with the boosted volume. Everything else is off except for the noise gate. All right, let's see what we got. Physics Channel says, not much difference on speakers through PC. Okay, so not much difference with the effects on versus off. PD says, just a freaking minute. The SM7B has a low cut mode on the back of the mic. Yes, it does. I have it set to flat though, because that is typically what most people have it set to. And I actually I can't tell any difference between any of the modes on the Shure SM7B, personally. Orange says, it seems louder, but I don't have phones in. This is better. It's softer. Okay. So people do like this without the big bottom on, I guess. Chubb and Rising says, there was this static a minute ago, but now it's gone. Yeah, and again, that's the noise gate. The noise gate is going to cut that off every single time I stop speaking. John Connor says, this is very good, but I do like compressor with 6 dB of gain and big bottom with the gate one. Okay, gotcha. All right, so let me go back to Unity. Say pepper 3 times and chimichanga 3 times. Let's see if that helps with the pops. Okay, so let me then let me just do something real quick. I'm going to turn everything off, and now I'm down to Unity. Okay, so now every single effect is turned off. There's no processing at all. This is just the natural sound of the microphone set at Unity, which is just the standard one on the board. PD says, if you can't low cut or high pass, try activating the low cut. There is a high pass filter built in on this. I've never played with high pass though. I usually can't tell the difference between that. We might be able to play around with it if Baby Thor stays asleep. Steven says, it still has a mini static as you speak. As I speak? Static as I speak? That's a little weird. Interesting. I agree with John Connor. I'm going with him because I want to live. Wait a second. Where did this come from? Random stream, Andrew Hoyle. Sorry. Not as deep and rich now. Okay. Sounds flat with everything off. And it should, because this is the flat profile of the microphone. Okay. So this is with that. So now I'm going to turn the compressor on. All right. So the compressor is now on. And so therefore everything should sound a little bit louder. And to me, it sounds even a little bit deeper. I don't know exactly how that works necessarily, but anyway, now the compressor is on, and so the volume is going to be a little bit higher without it being peaking as much. Obviously, you can hear that background noise, though. Steven says, yes, but the volume has to be really high, not as bad when similar volume. I don't know what that means. Hit the high pass to 200 hertz, and it should cut the background noise out a bit. I'll play around with that after. Louder and richer, I like now. Okay, so people do like it with the compressor on. And this does have a 6 dB boost, which is why it is louder. Okay. The gate is squelching the mic. Yeah, the gate's not on right now, though. Are you listening back to when it was on? Yeah, because the noise gate is not on right now. Yeah, I prefer not to have it there. Sing a few bars, seriously. Let me see. What could I sing? No, it's too early to sing. It's too early to sing. Much better with the compressor on. Let's see. Compressor is always going to sound a bit better, says PD Rich. Okay, cool. So with the compressor on, since you had mentioned it, Let me, because I can play around with those settings too, because I just know very, very little. But let me, okay, so you said turn the high pass filter on. Okay, high pass filter is now on. Ooh, that sounds weird. And you said turn it up to 200. So now, ooh, I don't know. Yeah, I can still hear the background noise, and that sounds weird. Oh Lord, this sounds really weird. I hope y'all can hear this right now. This sounds so bizarre. Yeah, this is the high pass filter with the highest possible setting. This sounds so weird. Oh my goodness. Yeah, try not to gate unless you have to. Yeah. You said Steven says it sounds better with this. Yeah, this is set to 200 hertz. That's the highest that this high pass filter can go. Yeah, this is set to 200 hertz. Yeah, this is very weird. I don't think this sounds better. This sounds weird. And then if I turn it all the way down to 20 hertz, this is what it sounds like. And then if I, boost it up a little bit, maybe I think the standard is around 100. The standard is at 67 hertz. So does it have a Bain filter? I don't think it has a Bain filter. Try 100 hertz. Okay. All right, this is at 101 hertz. All right, so let's do a test then. So compressor is on, high pass filter is on, and so can still hear that background noise though. Should definitely still hear that background noise. So high pass filter is on. This is with the high pass filter off. So the high pass filter is on, or rather, this is the high pass filter off. This is the high pass filter on. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. So this is, okay, so get to the chopper without high pass filter. Get to the chopper. And this is with it. Get to the chopper. Y'all are awesome, by the way. Thank y'all for putting up. Could you imagine a random person coming by saying, what the heck is this stream all about? Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know that people should be able to hear the background noise. I can't hear any background noise on this end. It might be feedback on your end. Yeah, other people said that they can hear that. It's the room tone that I can hear. Do it! Just now! Do it! What are you waiting for? Do it! So that's high pass filter on. And this is high pass filter off. Do it! What are you doing? Do it now! I don't know. I feel I don't feel the high pass filter makes much of a difference personally, but I haven't done it in a year because of the coof. No. Steven says, say ice cream. By the way, have the compressor on. It has the smoothie voice. This is the compressor. The compressor is on. This absolutely, this is the compressor on. The big bottom is the one that's off, and that was the one that some people did like. PC sounds the same. There's not much difference in the high pass filter. Yeah. And from what I've researched, high pass filter only really takes care of like rumbles and like lower rumble sounds, which this in the background is more of like a higher one. Steven says, I can only hear the background noise when volume is all the way higher. It's tolerable as of now. Okay. Gotcha. Can't tell the difference. Gotcha. All right. So compressor is on, and now I'm going to put the big bottom back on. All right. So this is with the big bottom back on. So things should be sounding a bit deeper. This is at 100 hertz for the tune. Drive is set to 30, and the mix is set to 50. Let's see. PD says, as long as the compressor is around 2 to 3 to 1, it should be fine. I think it was. Absolutely. Andrew Hoyle says, big bottom, I hear they make the rock and world go round. How 3000 says, can't tell the difference too. PD Rich says, have you got a low pass filter? No, I know there's a bass roll-off setting on this microphone though. But no, the only settings I have are high pass filter, noise gate, de-esser, compressor, and then I have also the affect settings, which consist of the big bottom and the oral exciter. But I personally don't like the oral exciter as much, personally. All right, let's see. JKD Buck says, high pass filter reminds me of a Clint Eastwood movie, High Plains Drifter. John Connors, this will certainly take more trial and error. Oh, for sure. Physics says, this does sound a bit richer. Big Bottom sounds better, and I'm listening on a Google Pixel. Say ice cream. Ice cream. All right, that's with the Big Bottom. Ice cream. That's without the Big Bottom. So, not oral exciter. It's like oral. It's the oral exciter. This is with that on. And this is with the oral exciter on. So oral exciter on and the Big Bottom on, both together, working together with the oral exciter and the Big Bottom. And now the oral exciter is off, but the Big Bottom remains. Need more bottom. Oh, I can definitely give more bottom, but I think it might get too bassy. But maybe does this cut off the bass a little bit with the oral exciter? So this is with just the Big Bottom. And then this is with the Big Bottom with the oral exciter to it as well. Does that make it sound any better whatsoever? Jumboody, thank God for making my morning. Steven, no problem at all, man. I'm glad this turned into a fun stream. I was feeling a lot of stress earlier with everything going on. So, oh, lordy. No difference on the phone. Yeah, it sounds like the phone probably is not going to make much of a difference with anyone. Different how what's going on, man. Yeah, this is, so oral exciter, I'm now turning that off. Big Bottom, I'm now also turning that off as well. So right now, we just have the compressor turned on. Steven says, sounds way better with the Big Bottom, by the way. Yeah, a lot of people seem to prefer that, which is interesting to me. PD says, if it gets too bassy, you'll have to kick in the high-pass filter, but not too much with your HPF. Interesting. So let me put the Big Bottom back on. And then the high-pass filter, let's turn that on. Oh, that sounds weird. So if I turn that down, turn that all the way up. So this is the, ooh, that sounds just weird. Let's put that down maybe 50% or so. I don't know. I don't really see much with the high pass filter offering a whole lot. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave that off then. I'm just going to leave that off. And then, obviously this noise gate that I just put on is kind of up for debate as well, because it does cut out that background noise a little bit. Big Bottom equals better. Audio version of a visit of the autonomous. 1 or 2. Exactly, JKD Buck. I was saying that earlier. Do you prefer A or B? Do you prefer, Biver Hava says, Odin, my honest opinion, Sanjuro is greater than Yojimbo. Yeah, I mean, to me, I just take them, they're so interconnected, as being continuation of the same story. I just prefer that. So yeah, the only change I've just made now is the noise gate, which cuts out some of that background noise when I'm not speaking. I know that the attack and the hold probably need to be adjusted a little bit, but it should be cutting out some of that background hiss that typically you can hear. And obviously the compressor, it does boost that sound a bit as well. And so it does make things sound a bit better. Or rather, it makes things sound a bit louder, for sure. This is like an audio eye exam, yeah. Andrew Hoyle says, now say, for all you boppas out there in the big city, all you street people with an ear for the action, I've been asked to relay a request from the Gramercy Riffs. It's a special for the Warriors. Warriors come out to play, eh? It's the Warriors. They killed Cyrus. Talk about a great movie. All right, I'll go ahead and turn that noise gate off. Let me then turn the Big Bottom off as well. And then let's go back to the compressor and let me put so now I've not given any additional gain set to the compressor. So this is now, the compressor is on. However, I'm not adding any additional gain to the signal. I think it sounded like y'all liked it with a little bit of extra gain there. Did I see Fast 9 yet? It's not here yet in the States, so no. And I don't really want to either. Nowhere to Run was the song they play for the Warriors. Oh, no, trust me. I got the reference because, yeah, for sure. Well, Physics Channel, Kenny Lee, thank you for being here and for helping. All right, let me now put the extra gain to maybe, let's see, 4 dB. Put that to maybe 4 dB. JKD Buck says, my wife, what were you and Odin talking about just now? Me, the big bottom. You can have her see the whole stream and be like, I swear, it wasn't bad. Yeah, my compressor ratio is set to 3-to-1. The threshold is negative 22.8. And again, that stuff I don't quite understand. The attack is at 5 milliseconds. The release is at 0.27. Those are stuff that I don't quite understand. But it sounds like y'all like the sound that it has right now with the compressor. So again, this is just with a compressor on, and then some of y'all seem to like it when I add this big bottom to it, where it's a bit of a louder, or at the very least, a bit of a richer tone as such, at least a little bit more than everything else. Paul Stenteford says, I'd say the compressor with the big bottom and oral exciter is the winning combination. So you like it when I have this turned on as well with the oral exciter. Steven says, yes, the way you have is fine. Okay, I just added the oral exciter to it as well. So did that make it better? So without the noise gate on. JKD Buck, oral exciter, exactly. Not oral exciter, the oral exciter. Get it right, dirty-minded people. Steven says it made it louder and better in my end. Okay. Exciter makes your highs sound a bit funny. Okay, gotcha. Well, obviously, I can tune that a bit. So this is if it's all the way down. This is if it is all the way up. There's also a way to like drive it. Ooh, Lord, yeah, that's not good. Let's put that down a bit. And then that's also the harmonics added. That sounds a bit too much as well, a little too crunchy. So put those down a little bit. Let me set that back to what it was before. This is not Twitch. It's oral exciter, exactly. It does seem better with the oral exciter. Alex McCarthy, what's going on, man? John Connor says, Big Bottom helps make you sound present in the room with the bass of your voice and less like from a screen, if that makes sense. Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was definitely a disgusting sound with the oral exciter playing around with it. Big Bottom sounds like he's in the room for sure. All right, so I just put the oral exciter off. So the Big Bottom is now on. So maybe that was the issue before. Big Bottom is now on, and the oral exciter also is now on as well. So oral exciter mixed with the Big Bottom. So I guess this is A. So A is oral exciter mixed with the, I guess I can kind of hear what you were saying before about how it makes certain things sound a little bit weird, PD Rich. So now the oral exciter is off, and now I don't quite hear it nearly as much as I did before. So again, option A, this is the oral exciter on, and obviously I can play around with these settings as it goes through. So again, oral exciter is on in this case, and now the oral exciter is off, but the Big Bottom and compressor are both on here. You got it, says PD Rich. Okay, got it. So it sounds like most of y'all prefer this setup here, which is the compressor on with the Big Bottom on. The YouTube auto caption on this stream will be worth watching. Absolutely. And just as, again, a way of showing a control, this is with a compressor and also with a Big Bottom turned on. And then this is how it sounds with no processing whatsoever. Obviously, there's going to be a drop in volume. It's going to sound a bit flat. Maybe it's going to sound a bit normal for you. Obviously, this is something where I could potentially add extra gain on I can push my slider up, for instance, and push the gain to be a little bit louder there. So again, this is with nothing added onto it. So this is with nothing added onto it. And now this is with the processing. This is with the compressor set and also with the big bottom set as well. So what are y'all's thoughts? JKD Buck says Nerdrotic sounds like he has big bottom on. Yeah, he probably does. Actually, I bet Gary has every single one of them on. I bet he turned every single one of them on. I would not be surprised by that at all. I would not be surprised. Alice McCarthy says, isn't an oral exciter called pizza? PD Rich says, the first hour of recording session post get in normally spent setting up bloody desk. Yeah, for sure. It is a boomer thing by Gary. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Baby Thor is waking up, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. But thank you all so very much for joining me this morning and for helping me out, try to figure these things out. And obviously, I'll continue to play around with these things as such. And thank you all very much for your feedback. It really does mean a lot. Gary is turning them all on with the big bottom. Oh my! I don't know if he has the master compressor on or not, but Trent Johnson, he has all the things on because he has no idea what's going on. Yes, well, I see a button and I feel like I have to press it. It just feels like something I have to do. Sounds fine to me, says PD Rich. Cool. No, I am actually not, though I might be in the future, maybe. I gave it up because it was kind of just a little too toxic for me, kind of like how Twitter is for a lot of people. But maybe in the near future, potentially. But I am on Twitter. I have, of course, a email, odinsmovieblog@gmail.com. I have a Discord server. I've got a lot of other social media platforms. So, Sir Mix-a-Lot approves, says JKD Buck. Cool. Thank you all very much. Can Father Miller contact you? Father on Twitter always contacts me. Yeah. I'm in a couple of messaging groups with Father Christopher. So, yeah, absolutely. No question about it, for sure. But anyway, thank you all so very much for being here today. And again, because this was just a random stream, I won't have any of the usual shout-outs that I do since this is an unmonetized stream. But thank you all very much for being here. I'll see you on Friday Night Tights tonight. I'm sure anything I come up with for my own personal setup will not work at all within StreamYard, and it'll be a total disaster when I go in there tonight. But thank you all very much. Now I have something to listen back to on my end as well. You guys are all amazing, beautiful people. Thank you all so very much again for being awesome. Look out for more reviews. I am continuing to watch. I just actually got in Kagemusha, or Kagemusha. I'm not exactly how to pronounce it, by Akira Kurosawa. So I got this because it's no longer on the Criterion channel. And I actually got an extra copy. They sent me an extra copy. So I'll be doing a giveaway of that tonight as well. So again, thank you all very much for being here. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.